You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Friday, March 25th virtual show. You can also listen to our show on podcast. Also catch us on air on Saturday at 3 p.m. with a rebroadcast on Sunday at 8 a.m. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. We are here to help you in today's economy. And now in studio, we have Keith Ferrin of Simply Communicate, improving all of your communication while saving time right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Keith, welcome into the show for the first time.
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And again, Doug gave a shout out. It's always nice to have guests that we have in studio that are actually doing great things together outside of studio and just happen to be here at the same time.
Definitely. I had no idea Doug was going to be here, but not only has he hired me, I've hired him. That is
awesome. You know, when we see that is awesome, Keith. We actually see that a lot, and it's because we bring in the best of the best in studio, and the best of the best hang out with each other. So we've had that multiple times where people just randomly are here, didn't know who was going to be in studio. Yeah. So that is great. Well, a little bit about Keith. He is an author, speaker, and a message coach. He has worked with entrepreneurs, small businesses, authors, pastors, coaches, and C-level leaders at Fortune 500 companies. He has spent the last 25 years speaking on all types and sizes of stages. When he's not the one on the stage, he's helping people identify their message, craft their message, and deliver their message. He founded Simply Communicate to help people prepare efficiently, save time, deliver confidently, improve job satisfaction, and land messages effectively, impacting bottom line. When he's not consulting, you'll usually find him doing something outside with his wife and his 3 kids somewhere around the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's me.
Love it, Keith. So you call yourself a messaging coach. How is that different from a communication coach, would you say, Keith?
Well, it was really an identity thing. It was something that when people hear the phrase communication coach, they typically go one of 2 directions. They either think public speaking trainer, or they think like conflict resolution, that kind of communication, relational communication. And really what I help people do is clarify their message, then simplify their message, and then deliver it well, whether they're delivering it in a meeting or a presentation or an email or on a stage and keynote. So I do public speaking coaching, but that's not the starting point for me. If you don't have a clear message, then I have no desire to help somebody put lipstick on a pig. They've got to have a clear message first. So.
Yeah, and you're really helping them. I always say a formula is just, it's a confident, powerful, and to the point message. So how do you take their messaging and really get it to that confident, powerful, and to the point space? So Keith, how did you get started in messaging and communication coaching?
Yeah. Well, it started, I was years ago, out of college. I didn't feel like growing up, so I became a youth pastor at a church in Tacoma. And so I would speak to students, and then I'd speak to parents and different things like that. And just kind of felt like I was moving more into doing more and more speaking. And I remember I kind of decided this is what I'm going to do full time. I'm going to go and I'm going to speak at conferences and write and all that. And I was having lunch with a friend of mine who was 10 years my senior, and he just said, Keith, you're a pretty good storyteller. You've got good content, and you're mildly funny. So you can probably wing it and have a pretty good career. But if you ever want to be excellent, you need to go to this conference. And he sent me to, and I trusted him. So I went to this conference, this public speaking training conference. And it was this intense thing where they just ripped us apart. But and we worked on body language and humor and transitions and all that stuff. But there was this clarity around this system of preparing a talk. And I realized for the first time that that we all, there are two truths we all know that we never combine. One is everyone wants to improve communication. You ask any leader of any team, company, university, whatever, what are three areas you improve these and everything improves? No one's not going to have communication on the list, right? Everyone's going to have it on the list. The second is that systems make things better. You have a system for building a car, designing a piece of software, making a sale of a product. You're going to be both more efficient and more effective. So when I ask people, what's your system for improving communication? Most people don't have one. They just, well, we need to talk about this, we need to talk about that, and whatever. And so I started, over the next 5-6 years, started crafting a system of thinking through any message, no matter what the delivery model was, written or spoken. I wanted to simplify and streamline. I wanted to save time and deliver better talks, write better books, write better blog posts, help more people. So
yeah, and the system is so important, or a formula or a template that you can follow. I'm going to definitely have to reach out to you because I'm a keynote speaker and I share my story of tragedy to triumph. I need a little humor in mine. And
okay,
so I'll definitely send you my keynote and we'll talk about that.
let's make it happen. For sure.
Keith, I think everything in life begins with mindset. Anything you do and your intention and how you set your mind up for that task. What is the mindset that you feel like you need to have to communicate effectively?
It's really a 3-part mindset. It's and one part builds on the next. And so the first and foundational part is clarity. Then next is confidence. Then next is creativity. And so that clarity piece, again, that's kind of where we started this conversation. For me, if you don't have a crystal clear message, then you trying to figure out how to get on, because people ask me all the time, how do you get up on stage so many times and not wet your pants, right? Because most people hate public speaking. And so they're asking me confidence questions, or how do you get on stage and use humor? Or how do you tell better stories or whatever? And so it's in the creativity department. And I tell my clients all the time, clarity breeds confidence and unleashes creativity. That once you have a clear, crystal clear message, then the rest becomes problem solving. How do I best communicate it in this situation for these people? Because I know exactly what I want to accomplish with them. And so, and we can be much more confident when we're solving a problem than when we're just not trying to look stupid, or we're trying to remember stuff, or we're trying to not forget our lines or whatever. And so, so the mindset for me is clarity first, then confidence, then creativity, because clarity breeds confidence and unleashes creativity.
Yeah, that is beautiful. So what would you say would be your number one tip that you could share to improve your messaging?
I would say move from topic-driven communication to purpose-driven communication. So shift your mindset from here's what I want to talk about to here's what I want to accomplish. For me, that, I talk about a system, and we don't have time in this one deal to walk through all 4 steps, but the first step is purpose. That I want to know what it is that you want the outcome to be of this radio show, of this meeting you have, of this keynote, of this email, because a lot of time gets wasted and a lot of meetings are terrible because they're filled with content that are that is on topic, but is not on purpose. And so we cloud our messages and we just muddy the waters so much. So if somebody can get crystal clear on their purpose, then you'll save tons of time by weeding out content that does not. I've heard my whole life, content is king. And I say content is not king. Purpose is king. Content is the peasant that serves the king.
I love that. So stay on purpose, not content.
Yeah, content is vitally important. But if you don't have a clear purpose, then organizing content is a headache.
I love that, Keith. I can't tell you how many times we come out of some of these meetings and things, and we're like, what did we just do? Like, I'm not even sure. I could have done that with my friend over a beer. I don't know what just happened here. We had no purpose. That was our problem. You have 2 little words that can transform your messaging, Keith. What are they?
Yeah, and they lead to the purpose, and it's so that, right? When I work with corporate people, whether it's at a large computer company here in town, or whether it be at a large sales company that's already been mentioned in this show. It's one of those things that I ask somebody, so what's the purpose of this meeting? Or what's the purpose of this presentation? And I almost always hear this word. Well, I need to update them on the status of this. I need to update is the most common word when I ask people what the purpose is. And I tell you, that's not your purpose. Your purpose is never to update. Add these two little words, so that, ... and finish the sentence. Anytime that you're about to deliver just a ton of content, you're about to update somebody, inform somebody, educate somebody, then put those two little words, so that ... and finish the sentence. So that we can solve our 3 biggest problems, so that we can reach our 4 top clients, so that we can make more sales this quarter. So that will always lead to a purpose instead of just delivering more content.
Those are great words. I'm over here actually taking a lot of notes. I don't believe in multitasking. I train in my time management business efficiency coach about one tasking, but I can't help it. I've got to get some of these key things. I guess I could listen back to the show. It is going to be on the radio and podcast, but very great information that you're sharing, Keith. Thank you so much. So what is the best way that you can start improving your messaging?
Okay, I know we've got very little time, so I'll give 2 little ones. One is to reiterate what I said about purpose. Decide what it is you want to accomplish instead of what it is you want to talk about. And then once you have that crystal clear in your mind and you start organizing your content, because again, content is important, it's just not king. So once you're organizing your content, come up with what I call the hook. It's a plural noun that you organize your content around. So because everybody has a hook, but if you don't choose one, your hook will either be stuff or things, right? We have a lot of stuff to cover, so let's dive in. Okay, I have several things I want to talk to you about, right? Stuff and things are the 2 most common hooks out there. But if you say there are 3 decisions that you need to make, or if you meet with Doug, he's going to tell you, you need to develop these habits, right? He used the word habits. That's his hook. Right. And it's not just hook as in catchy, it's hook that you hang your content on. Are you talking about decisions, questions, ideas, stories, solutions, savings? I don't care what it is. Just make sure that your hook is not things or stuff, and you will catapult your effectiveness in communication and your sales, since this is the money hour.
Yeah. And as we're wrapping up here, just a really quick question. So hook, it could be attached to the problem of your perfect market and how you're the solution for that. Is that correct? Or would that hook be in addition to the problem and the solution?
Well, when I'm talking about the hook, I'm not just talking about the main idea. When I'm talking, and we would need to unpack this a bit, but when I'm talking about the hook, I'm talking about the label on each of your points. So are your points solutions, or are your points answers, or are your points steps, or whatever? But it's a way of talking through the journey you're about to take your client on, or your potential client on, that definitely needs to address. I would say your purpose is about solving their problem.
Yes.
And the hook are each of the steps or challenges or risks or whatever that you're taking. Just don't use the word things.
Yeah, love it. Well, Keith, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Great information that you shared, and I'm personally excited to chat with you offline. So thank you.
My pleasure.